My name is Matthew Kane. I'm here to be my local community hero, Tony Smith. Tony, how are you doing?
I'm very good, Matthew. How are you?
Not too bad.
Good man.
I'd like to ask you a few questions about your childhood. Is that then on? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. Where did you grow up and what was your childhood like?
I had a very simple childhood, believe it or not. I was born in a house in O'Neill's Avenue, and with a very adventurous childhood because we didn't have devices as mobile phones or any digital that wasn't invented back then. So we had to make the best of what we had. So we done a lot of football, cycling, the odd bit of boxing, which it kept going anyway throughout the whole childhood. But it was all great times. We made the best out of very little because we no very little toys running. You had little toy cars or cap guns or things. That was it. There was nothing digital. Very little things that you even put batteries into. So we hadn't even got such a thing as a calculator back in the day. So there you go.
What was your experience of school like?
Quite mixed. School was a lot different back in the day to what it is now.
Yeah.
I mean, back then the teachers were like to slap the hands of you or give you a cuff around the ear, things like that. But at the end of the day, I made lifelong friends at school, Matthew, and even some of the good teachers that we had over the years, we ended up great friends with them. The older you get, and they're still, you meet them out socially. And so people like, we'll bother out a few teachers there. One of them was Leo Kane in the Abbey, not the grammar, the small school, the Abbey itself. Leo Kane was a fantastic teacher. He was a great man to talk to young people before you would go to the next part or the next school, So then we went to the next school and ended up meeting Shawnee McGuigan, Ronnie Hollywood, Mickey Gray even, and we all became good friends. So be nice to your teacher.
What hobbies and interests did you have as a child?
Believe it or not, one of my best and beloved hobbies was photography. I always loved messing around with the old black and white. There wasn't even colour photography then. So when colour photography came in, you got a cheap little 110 camera. It was great. So that was one of the model cars again, on all sorts of sporting activities out and about, way up the fields. Going to the cinema was fantastic. That was a treat maybe once a fortnight because we didn't even have a television at that time. There was no televisions. So the cinema was the big thing. When you come out after the cinema, you just wanted to act as what you're really after saying. So it was great, exciting times,
What inspired you to get involved in acting?
Again, watching the cinema, going to the cinema, watching on the big giant screen. You can't believe the screen, and you didn't know the first time I went to the cinema. Is this real or what? So that really inspired me. And then, as I said, we're always acting when we come out of the cinema as children. And then at schools, drama clubs and what have you at school, and just acting out in the yard, with the lads for a bit of crack and emulating some of it. And funny enough, one of my school friends, a fella called Kane Cunningham from Newry, and he left Newry a long time ago and went to Manchester and went to his acting college over there with Steve Coogan and a few others. And I hadn't seen Kieran in years, and one night we were sitting in the house and my wife at Coronation Street on, I rarely watch the soaps, and she says, I know that fella there's face, and I looked, there's my mate Kieran Cunningham, who I was in the same class with in school. Now that really egged me on, because I thought, my God, if Kieran could get in Coronation Street, I'll have to go for it at some point.
What was it like living in London and trying to make your way as an actor?
I tell you, Matthew, that was hectic to say the least. Absolutely hectic. So first, you have to get your profile built up on an acting website and send loads of self-tapes or videos or a show reel even if any director's looking for a specific role. And so yes, I got straight into a feature film. I was very, very lucky. I was in the actor's studio as well, done a few courses in there. And they told me, he actually said to me in the actor's studio, you're wasting your time coming here. So you're pretty good at what you do. You get screen tested a lot as well. They like to see what you can do, voice acting and all that. So, I mean, there was a lot of, like you're getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get the 6 o'clock tube into central London or south, west, east. and you have to be there on time. If they want you there at say 7 o'clock, you better be there at 7, because if you're not there at 7, the way they work in London, they give you about 5 minutes grace time. If you're there then, you can minute set. If you haven't got a valid excuse, the director would probably say, right, that's it, you're all set. So I stayed in hotels with different rows all over London, and just outside at different places, and right in the centre of London. I've been acting there with Steve Collins, the world super middleweight and middleweight boxer, so we've been doing things with him as well. So you have to be on set on time, and that could last all. You could be there at 7 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock, and you might be getting off that set at say 12 midnight. So it's hectic. Other directors will say you can come and sleep in my couch, so it's nearer to where the set is.
Yeah.
So instead of even staying in a hotel, the director's house could be here, and you could be out, your set could be across the road. So you're couch surfing, you're living out of a suitcase. So it's good, it's hectic, but I love it.
Who would you say had the biggest influence on you to get involved in acting?
Again, when you see the big actors, the likes of John Wayne, he was one of the first actors I've ever seen, and you see Gerard Murphy from Newry. I delved into his acting career, massive actor as well. Robert De Niro was one of my favourites. Liam Neeson, and he's just from up the road. Big Liam. And our own Sean Hollywood, we had him here in Newry, an amazing character. And once again, my school friend Kieran Cunningham. I mean, I'm watching the television, and there he is. But I'm rearing 3 children, and I'm working away, and I kept a government job for 22 years. So when I wanted out of that, I knew I'm going to London to start my acting.
How and why did you set up the banter show?
I was working with a Longford director in London, a fellow called Tom Begley, and he was doing a screen test on me, and he wanted me to promote. Promote a band over there. Now we end up the best of friends. One of the guys in the band, Andy Nolan, he wrote a couple of books and turned them into films, which then I was in. So I always get the bad boy Irish actor fighting roles or just evil Irish guy, you know.
Yeah.
But it's one like a big house full of a collaboration of actors and directors. So it's very, very interesting. But so Tom Begley said to me one day, could you promote this band? And I said, well, have you got a phone or anything? So he says, can I put this up on YouTube? So I done a quick video and promoted the band in banter show style. And he said to me, you've got something there. You've got something. So that's actually, the banter show started in London. And after a couple of years, I come home from London, and the studio in Newry got in contact with me, said, we have a studio, would you come over and do something? So we started the banter show there. But it's several studios around Newry, you just kept it going, you know.
What do you like most about doing the banter show?
I love helping charities, see all the charities, see brand new charities, and people who are struggling, they need a pushing them on the social media. They've just set up a new page and there's nothing on it. Yeah. I love going to the likes of them, doing as much as I can for them, telling everybody to reshare, these people need help. And just to see the smile on their face, knowing that somebody's helping them. Yeah. So I love them. I've done a lot of that at the very start around Newry, and I've helped a lot of charities. And these charities have gone on, they've developed, and they're into what was an idea, and now they're a full-blown charity. So that gives me a great buzz. I'm here to help everybody, all the charities, anybody that needs it. While I'm in Newry, I try and help everybody as much as I can, Matthew. So that's what keeps me going.
How do you think the banter show benefits the people of Newry?
Well, I never really thought of it that way until the lockdown came down, the first pandemic lockdown, and I thought a guy in, what was it now, Newry Enterprise Agency, he talked to me and he says, now's your time to shine. He said, people are locked in, they can't leave the house, they're not going to be watching the TV because there's nothing on the TV. So he says, now is your time to shine. So that's what I done. I kept it going. Not even reinforced it to keep it going. Sometimes you feel like throwing thing and say, do something that couldn't be bad. But it's going to be people like yourself, you know, good people, and you look me in the eye, you smiled. That's very, very important. And the charities again, I help as much as I can, like Fight for Alfie and all them.
Yeah.
So I've been there at the very start when they were trying to keep their son alive. Now they've done great things. They've got nearly 12 young boys in this health study that they're doing in New York. So it's all good things, and I'll continue to help them, you know, to help them grow. Carrying Coins, another one, they're doing great things. So any of the local charities, PEPs, there's a massive amount of them, and they all need a push because of this after pandemic scenario that we're heading into.
Where did the name Riser come from?
That's a good one. Tell you where it actually came from. A fella at the top of Courtney Hill.
Oh.
A fella at the top of Courtney Hill, and he came out with that word when he was in this college. He was actually in this college, and he came up with this word. This is a long time ago. I think it was the late 70s, and he started Riser. And everybody smiled. I noticed people would smile when you said it. And then it was a greeting. Everybody in the early 80s down the hill street, Riser, Riser, Riser. And it really was a good happy word.
Yeah.
And then I went away to work for 22 years. That word was gone. It was gone off the streets. Hadn't been heard. And going back to when I was doing the presenting work with the Irish director in London, he says, you can definitely get something going, you have the passion for it, I can see how good you are at it. And he says to me, you're going to need a catchphrase. You're going to need a catchphrase, hence the word I just thought of straight away. Riser. It's an uplifting word to, you know, lift your business, elevate your business, your brand, your band, help a charity. So it's an uplifting word. So that's where it came from, Courtney Hill.
What advice would you give someone looking to get involved in acting or presenting?
First of all, you need to believe in yourself. You need to believe in yourself. As I said, I worked for 22 years. I knew what I wanted. In them 22 years, I knew I'd just love to get over to London, get stuck on a bit of acting, because you can do it that quick. There's a lot happens in London. There's a lot more films happening every single day. So that was my goal. But I got my eyes opened. I went straight into the deep end. But you learn as you go.
Yeah.
You learn as you go. So there's do's and don'ts on set. There's a lot of do's and don'ts on set. But you need to have the drive. You need to be passionate about it. If you want to get into acting, start watching all the big films and pick one good actor out that you really like, and just watch all his different films and watch the way his roles all change. So you can go from one. That's what acting is. You're portraying someone else. So it's a tough game to get into, but for young people out there, I would advise you get into your local drama groups at school. Go to the local theatre groups, because things are starting to open up. A great resources that you guys have today that I didn't have 12 years ago was Zoom. Zoom has only started during the pandemic. It's fantastic. I'm doing a lot of Zoom calls now with acting work. I have some acting work coming up now next month. Can't wait for it. It's going to be very exciting. We're shooting down at Dundrum Castle. It's a night shoot. So I'm going to be a bad boy again in this one. So it'll probably be a bit of sword fighting and things like that, you know. So anybody out there that's trying to get into acting, I tell you now, it is a tough game, but if you believe in yourself, and this is what you need, you really need to believe in yourself and know what you can do. So you could go on set, this has happened to me many a time. I've learned the script inside out, which takes quite a while to get it in there. And I've got on set, and the director said to me, did you learn your script? Yeah, well, forget all about that one. Come here, here's what I want you to do. And this has happened. This happens on set. So be aware, things can change at the blink of an eye on set. It's a tough game to get into, but the thing is, I've reared my family, and the thing that I wanted to do, I was lucky to get, since retiring, had the money and a big handful of money, and that's when I went straight to London. And get involved with people, get involved in your communities. Even in London, there's all different acting communities, and I say use your resources. You've got Facebook, there's all acting schools, there's free acting tips all over the place. But do go to the likes of New Point Players or Newry Musical Society. theatre companies. The Bosco have a theatre company there, Flynn Performing Arts. I mean, there's so many in round Newry, the choir studio, there's so many, and the talent level, Matthew, in Newry is wow, sky high. Another bit about acting, it's not just acting, dressing up, portraying someone, there's voice acting, there's corporate acting, which I have done for British Gals, and I done corporate acting, and I couldn't believe it. Kieran Cunningham got me the job because he was in the banter show in Newry. His phone went when we went for a drink after. Kieran, I require 2 actors. He went with that. I should put my name down. So that was a Friday. Monday I was in Manchester. So Friday was doing the banter show in Newry. Monday I was in Manchester on set with Kieran Cunningham and another Newry actor. 3 fellas from Newry. How bizarre is that on stage for corporate acting for British Gals?
Yeah. What plans do you have for the future?
Once again, Matthew, help as many of the charities. For the banter show, that is.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to keep the banter show going. Great meeting the likes of yourself, and I've met you several times out and about.
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep it going. Also, as I say, I've acting work coming up in March. Can't wait because it's been a long time. So I can't wait to get back into that because acting takes you away from your normal day of anything. Once the phone's off and you have to portray as someone else, you're living as someone else basically. So Tony Smith's not about, it's the actor is here. So it's there's a lot more coming up at a couple of meetings with a chef in Belfast. So we're talking about doing cookery programmes on the banter show and other collaborations from a guy in Blackpool. He wants to collaborate, he wants me to sing in his album. Why not? I'll sing in his album. So that's it. Go head first into acting. Make sure you're positive about yourself. Make sure you believe yourself. Tell yourself, I can do this. If you tell yourself I can do this, good things happen. You will. Positivity's number one, Matthew.
Yeah.
Tell yourself you can do it. You will do it. I promise you that. So don't hold back.
Yeah. Thanks, Tony, for allowing me to do the interview.
Matthew, it's been a pleasure, absolute pleasure, and best of luck to you and everybody involved with the Respect Project. You're doing great work, guys. Each and every one of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.